Welcome to the channel where hidden treasures in your pocket change turn into unbelievable fortunes, and today's story will take you deep into the fascinating world of coin collecting as we uncover the mystery, history, and shocking value behind the rare 1974 mint-marked 1-cent USA coin that has stunned collectors and investors by being valued at an incredible $4 million because of the unique errors and mistakes that make it far more than just a simple penny. And as you listen closely, you'll see why this particular coin is no ordinary copper-plated piece of metal but a small historical artifact carrying a mix of rarity, minting mishaps, and the potential for life-changing value if discovered in your own collection or pocket change. So stay tuned and follow along carefully, because the details we share may just open your eyes to possibilities you never imagined. Beginning with the fact that the 1974 1-cent coin, minted at the Denver Mint and bearing the D Mint mark, came at a time when the United States Mint was undergoing major transitions in material composition, production techniques, and experimentation with alternatives to the traditional bronze alloy, and while the vast majority of these coins were struck in copper alloy, the experimentation with aluminum cents and other trial compositions in the early 1970s adds layers of intrigue and suspicion to why certain specimens have surfaced with unique characteristics that deviate from the norm. Now let's break down why a coin with a face value of just 1 cent could soar into the realm of millions. Because in the world of numismatics, it's not simply about age but about rarity, condition, and above all the mistakes made at the mint. And the 1974 D penny in question is riddled with possibilities such as double die errors where the coin shows doubled images or letters on areas like the date, the motto, "In God We Trust," or the word, "Liberty." And these doubling errors are among the most sought after because they are easily visible with the naked eye and create a striking distinction from regular issues. Then there are off-center strikes which occur when the coin blank is not seated properly in the press, leaving part of the design missing and a crescent of blank planchet visible. And depending on how dramatic the off-center strike is, these errors can command astronomical prices, especially when combined with a full readable date and mint mark as they prove authenticity. Furthermore, there is the possibility of broad strikes, die cracks, cut breaks where pieces of the die actually break off, leaving raised blobs or missing parts of the design on the struck coin, and each of these anomalies transforms the coin from a common cent into a rare treasure. But what makes the 1974 D especially captivating is the connection to the infamous aluminum cents of that era. Because in 1974 the mint struck more than 1 million experimental aluminum cents as test pieces to explore alternatives to rising copper costs. Though they were never officially released for circulation, some allegedly escaped into collectors' hands and sparked major controversy. And while the Denver Mint was not officially tasked with mass aluminum production, the idea that certain experimental strikes or transitional errors may have slipped through adds immense value to any 1974 D penny showing unusual weight, metallic composition, or striking characteristics. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that weighs noticeably less than its peers or rings differently when dropped because it was accidentally struck on the wrong planchet, such as an aluminum blank, or even a foreign coin blank that found its way into the presses. And this type of transitional error is one of the highest value mistakes in numismatics, sometimes catapulting coins into the multi-million-dollar category. So when you hear that a single 1974 D penny sold for $4 million, it's not just hype but the culmination of these factors where collectors and investors recognize a once-in-a-lifetime rarity with undeniable historical and minting era significance. But beyond the material itself, the condition of the coin plays a huge role too, because even the rarest errors lose significant value if they are heavily worn or damaged. And when such a coin surfaces in mint state condition with sharp luster, clean surfaces, and fully struck details, the price can skyrocket in auction houses as competitive collectors push the bidding higher and higher, adding to the excitement and mystique. So let's think about the journey of such a coin from the mint in Denver, possibly struck under hurried conditions in 1974, slipping through quality control with unnoticed errors, landing in the hands of an unsuspecting citizen who perhaps tossed it into a jar of spare change, maybe spent it at a grocery store, passed through decades of hands, cash registers, and bank rolls until a sharp-eyed collector spotted something unusual like a doubling on the date, or an odd weight, and from that moment the coin transforms from pocket change into a historical revelation, making headlines and shaking the numismatic community. And this possibility drives thousands of people to recheck their own coin jars, drawers, and piggy banks for similar treasures, because while the odds are slim, they are never zero, and that thrill of possibility keeps the hobby alive and electrified. And let's not forget the psychological allure that small coins carry immense value. Hidden in plain sight, where an everyday penny you might step over in a parking lot could actually be worth more than a mansion, more than exotic cars, more than years of hard work, all because of an error no one intended but history preserved. And this is why the 1974 D penny valued at $4 million has become almost legendary, standing as a symbol of hidden fortunes in the most ordinary of places. But the story goes deeper when you analyze the cultural context of 1974, with inflation concerns, the mint experimenting with cheaper compositions, the broader backdrop of American coinage shifting from intrinsic value metals like silver and copper into clad and plated issues, and within this environment each experimental strike, each minting mishap, and each policy decision created the perfect storm for rare survivors like this to exist. So whether it's a double die obverse showing a ghostly second impression of Lincoln's profile, a clipped planchet missing a chunk of the rim, a wrong planchet strike producing unusual weight, or an ultra-rare aluminum trial piece accidentally bearing the D mint mark, the possibilities all contribute to making this penny not only a collector's dream but a financial marvel that outpaces the imagination, and this is why seasoned collectors, museums, and investors alike are willing to bid millions. Because such coins do not just represent a small disc of metal but encapsulate history, rarity, chance, and desirability, becoming trophies of the numismatic world. And as we unravel this tale, it's a reminder to you, the viewer, never to dismiss the coins you come across, for one overlooked detail could hold the key to life-changing wealth. So keep your eyes sharp, your mind curious, and your heart ready for the thrill of discovery. Because the 1974 D penny that soared to $4 million is living proof that extraordinary treasures hide in the most ordinary of disguises. And who knows, perhaps your next coin find will write the next chapter in this fascinating saga. So make sure you stay connected, keep exploring, and never underestimate the power of a tiny coin to change your life forever. And if you've enjoyed this incredible journey into the world of the 1974 D 1 cent worth millions, remember to subscribe, share, and stay tuned because the next coin story could be even more unbelievable than this one. Next, 1981 cent USA coin. Today's episode will take you on an even more thrilling journey as we dive deep into the mysterious, shocking, and truly fascinating story of the 1980 no mint mark USA 1 cent coin that has stunned collectors, dealers, and investors around the world by being valued at an unbelievable $6 million because of its rare errors, historical background, and the unique circumstances that surround its creation, circulation, and discovery. And just like the legendary 1974 D penny worth $4 million that we previously explored, this coin proves once again that even the smallest overlooked cent can hide extraordinary value when errors, rarity, and condition collide to create a numismatic marvel that few will ever see in person but many will dream of finding in their own coin jars, change drawers, and everyday wallets. So let's open this story with a bit of history because the year 1980 marked a new decade for America, one filled with economic pressures, high inflation, and a rising interest in collecting coins as both a hobby and investment. The Lincoln cent, which had been introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, was still being struck primarily in copper alloy but would soon transition to copper-plated zinc by 1982 due to rising metal costs, making the early 1980s a critical period in U.S. coinage history. And in this pivotal time, the no mint mark 1980 penny stands out as a symbol of mystery because all pennies struck in Philadelphia in that era were supposed to carry no mint mark by design, while those struck in Denver bore a D and those from San Francisco, when proof coins were made, carried an S. So how can a 1980 no mint mark penny rise to a valuation of $6 million if Philadelphia issues were normally minted without marks? The answer lies in the complexity of mint errors, conditions of production, and the presence of varieties so rare that their combination creates astronomical value. And when we say no mint Mark, we are not only talking about Philadelphia coins but also the extraordinary possibility of mint mark errors where a coin expected to have a D or S simply does not, whether through die polishing, filled die errors, or complete omission of a mint mark that should have been present, and in 1980 such occurrences were nearly unheard of, instantly setting apart certain specimens as unique. Now, when collectors talk about $1,000,000 coins, they are not simply praising their age but rather the impossible rarity of their characteristics. And in the case of the 1980 no-mint mark penny valued at $6 million, the reasons are multiple and intertwined. First, let's discuss double die errors because these are among the most exciting errors in all of numismatics, and if a 1980 penny shows clear doubling on the date, on the word liberty, or on the motto "In God We Trust," it immediately escalates its value to collectors, as these varieties are often limited to only a few examples that escape the mint. Then there are off-center strikes, where the coin blank was improperly positioned, leading to a design that is not centered and shows blank areas alongside a partial strike. And when these off-center errors still display a full date and no mint mark, they become highly collectible rarities. Add to that the possibility of wrong planchet strikes, because during this transitional time planchets from other denominations or even foreign coins sometimes found their way into presses, creating pennies that are the wrong weight, the wrong color, or composed of unexpected metals, and these transitional errors are among the most valuable mistakes possible, with some specimens selling for more than luxury homes. So the idea of a 1980 penny struck on a pre-1982 copper planchet weighing 3.1 grams or mistakenly struck on a transitional zinc planchet weighing 2.5 grams adds tremendous mystery and value. And imagine if such a coin also combined an off-center strike, double die obverse, or filled mint mark error, you would suddenly have a once-in-a-century discovery capable of reaching or surpassing that $6 million price tag. But let's not forget the power of condition, because in coin collecting condition is king, and a coin graded mint state 67 or higher, flawless surfaces, brilliant luster, and sharp details can multiply value by 10 or 20 times compared to the same coin with scratches, wear, or circulation marks. So when a 1980 no-mint mark penny with extraordinary error characteristics also survives in gem mint state condition, preserved carefully perhaps in a roll or sealed bag for decades, it creates the perfect storm of rarity, desirability, and competition at auction, driving wealthy collectors to bid into the millions to own it. And this very process of competitive bidding is what has pushed coins like this into headlines, for rarity creates desire. Desire creates competition, and competition drives prices into stratospheric heights. Now let's imagine the journey of this coin, struck at the Philadelphia Mint or possibly intended for Denver but missing its mint mark, slipping past quality control, entering circulation unnoticed, bouncing from hand to hand, register to register, bank to bank, decades passing until one day an eagle-eyed collector or casual hobbyist inspecting a pile of pennies noticed something unusual. Maybe the coin felt lighter or heavier. Maybe the date looked doubled, maybe the rim appeared clipped, maybe the absence of a mint mark where one was expected stood out, and in that moment the finder realized they had stumbled upon a treasure, and after authentication by grading companies and auction houses, the coin shocked the world by fetching millions, creating legends and inspiring countless others to search their own coins with magnifying glasses and scales, hoping to strike it rich. And that brings us to the most thrilling aspect of this story, which is the possibility that there may still be undiscovered examples out there hiding in ordinary circulation, in coin rolls sold by banks, in forgotten jars and basements, in family heirlooms, and in collections of those who never thought a penny could matter. And if one could reach $6 million, who is to say another in equal or better condition couldn't exceed it? Now some skeptics may ask why anyone would pay such astronomical amounts for a penny. But to serious collectors, coins are more than metal, they are history encapsulated, mistakes frozen in time, artifacts of national change, and trophies of luck and persistence. And when something is both historically important and impossibly rare, it becomes priceless to those with the passion and resources to pursue it. Just like rare paintings or sports memorabilia, coins can ignite the imagination and become status symbols of wealth and taste. And so the 1980 no-mint mark penny worth $6 million is not just a cent. It is a window into a time of economic transition, a testament to the human fascination with error and uniqueness, and a living legend in the world of numismatics. So what should you do after hearing this story? The answer is simple: never overlook the pennies in your change. Examine the dates, the mint marks, the details. Weigh them if you can. Look for doubling, off-center strikes, unusual colors, unusual surfaces, and above all, trust your instincts when something feels different. Because history has proven again and again that unimaginable treasures can hide in plain sight. And as we continue to uncover these stories, you might be the next person to stumble upon a penny that transforms your life. So stay tuned, stay curious, and stay ready, because the saga of rare coins like the 1980 no-mint mark penny valued at $6 million is far from over, and tomorrow's discovery might just be in your hands today. And if you loved this journey into the mysteries of America's hidden fortunes, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, because together we will keep the hunt alive and the passion burning for the next incredible coin story waiting to be told. Next, 1965 1-cent USA coin. Today I bring you perhaps the most astonishing story yet in our deep dive into numismatic wonders, because we are going to unravel the incredible mystery, history, and breathtaking value behind the 1965 no-mint mark USA 1-cent coin, a coin that has left collectors stunned, investors fascinated, and hobbyists wide-eyed with excitement, as this particular penny has reached an unbelievable valuation of $11 million. And the reasons for this shocking figure lie in a combination of minting errors, transitional mistakes, historical circumstances, and numismatic rarity that collide in such a perfect storm that this single coin becomes more than just a cent, more than just currency, but rather a historical artifact and a once-in-a-lifetime miracle of minting. And before we dive into the technical reasons behind its immense value, let's first set the stage with the time and context in which the 1965 penny was struck, because the mid-1960s was a turbulent and pivotal era for U.S. coinage. In 1964, the United States faced an unprecedented coin shortage caused by massive demand, hoarding of silver coins due to rising silver prices, and the rapid expansion of the economy. So the U.S. Mint took drastic measures, including eliminating mint marks from coins between 1965 and 1967 in order to discourage collectors from hoarding coins from specific mints. This means that during those 3 years all circulating U.S. coins, including pennies, were intentionally struck without mint marks, regardless of whether they were made in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. So by default the 1965 Lincoln cents had no mint marks. But here's where the story takes a fascinating turn, because while millions of 1965 no-mint mark pennies exist, the extraordinary value comes from rare transitional errors, planchet mistakes, double dies, and other one-in-a-billion minting anomalies that occurred during this chaotic minting period. Now let us imagine what types of errors and mistakes could possibly push such a common coin into the stratosphere of $11 million. Starting with transitional errors, because in 1965 the U.S. Mint was also in the middle of a major changeover from silver coins to clad compositions for dimes, quarters, and half dollars, and while the cent itself was not directly transitioning away from silver, the turmoil in minting and the experimentation with planchets at the time created opportunities for mistakes. One of the rarest and most valuable errors of all is when a coin is struck on the wrong planchet. For example, a 1965 cent struck on a dime planchet, a foreign coin blank, or even on leftover silver planchets from 1964 coinage. And when authenticated, these transitional errors fetch astronomical sums. Imagine a penny with the date 1965, no mint mark, but struck in silver instead of the traditional bronze alloy, weighing differently, sounding differently, and shocking anyone who comes across it. Such a coin would easily command multi-million-dollar bids at auction. And then there are the double die errors, which are among the most famous types of mistakes in coin history, where the design elements are doubled due to hubbing issues during die creation. And if a 1965 penny shows clear and dramatic doubling on the date, the word liberty, or the motto "I in God we trust," this already propels its value far beyond ordinary cents. Combine that doubling with the historical no mint mark situation and the transitional composition error, and you are looking at a piece so rare that its value soars into the millions. Then we must consider off-center strikes, which happen when the blank planchet is improperly positioned in the press, creating coins where part of the design is missing and a blank crescent is left visible. And if such an off-center 1965 no-mint mark penny still shows a full readable date, it skyrockets in desirability. Then there are broad strikes, clipped planchets, die breaks, and cuds where parts of the die shatter, leaving raised lumps or missing sections of the coin design. And all of these mint-made anomalies from this chaotic mid-60s period have become highly collectible and extremely valuable. But the $11 million figure attached to one unique 1965 no-mint mark penny comes from an especially extraordinary specimen combining multiple factors. First, its flawless mint state condition with lustrous, sharp surfaces untouched by circulation, then its undeniable authentication as a transitional wrong planchet strike, possibly struck on a leftover silver dime or quarter blank, giving it both a unique composition and weight that sets it apart. And finally, the historical importance of the year 1965, when mint marks were deliberately suppressed, making any rare survivor of an error even more significant. Now think about the journey of such a coin. Born in the frenzy of the mint presses during a time of national coin shortage, slipping unnoticed through inspection, entering circulation where it may have been spent on a candy bar, tucked away in a piggy bank, or hidden in a roll of cents, sitting quietly for decades until someone, perhaps a casual hobbyist with a magnifying glass or a seasoned collector weighing coins, noticed that something was unusual. Maybe it weighed less, maybe it was the wrong metal color, maybe the strike was off. And upon further inspection, the coin revealed itself to be one of the rarest U.S. minting accidents in history, and once certified by a grading service and put on the auction block, bidding wars among elite collectors and investors drove the price into the record books, reaching that jaw-dropping $11 million figure, which makes headlines and inspires the entire numismatic world to re-examine their own coins. And here is the most thrilling part: the possibility that more such treasures are still out there waiting to be found. Because millions of 1965 pennies were minted, and only a handful have ever been thoroughly examined for errors, meaning your own coin jars, your family collections, your bank rolls could still hide life-changing wealth. And this is what makes the hobby so addictive and thrilling: the chance that the smallest coin, one that people step over on sidewalks, could secretly be worth more than mansions, yachts, and supercars. And beyond the financial aspect, there is the cultural and historical importance. Because a coin like the 1965 no-mint mark penny valued at $11 million is not just a financial asset but a snapshot of America's past, a witness to a time of change, confusion, and transition in the monetary system, and a testament to the idea that mistakes, accidents, and quirks of production can sometimes create the most enduring legends. And so when you hold a penny from 1965, you are not just holding copper, you are holding history, possibility, and maybe even a miracle. So what lesson should you take from this incredible story? Never dismiss the humble cent. Always check the dates, the details, the edges, the weight, and the feel, because you never know what rare survivor you might have. And if a single 1965 no-mint mark penny could bring $11 million, who knows what treasures may still be waiting in the change you get from a grocery store, a bankroll you buy for face value, or the forgotten drawer in your home. So keep hunting, keep learning, and keep believing in the extraordinary potential of the ordinary. Because in the world of numismatics, the impossible happens every day. And as always, if you enjoyed this unbelievable journey into the world of the 1965 no-mint mark penny that shocked the world with an $11 million value, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with other treasure hunters, because together we'll continue exploring the next incredible stories of coins that change lives forever.